There's a spirit at Woodburn Mansion in Delaware that is so terrifying, the local children avoid the property at night for fear of hearing him shout, groan, or even rattle his eternal chains. Why is he trapped by the tree on the property, scaring away anyone who approaches? And who else is said to haunt this home that has been used for housing Delaware's governors for generations? Let's begin with a little background on Woodburn Mansion. Well, first we will journey back to 1684, when David Morgan and his heirs by the Swedish crown were granted the land that the mansion sits on today. It wasn't until the 1780s when Charles Hilliard III purchased the land for $110 at a sheriff's sale, opening it up for a property to be built in 1790, one that would later be known as Woodburn Mansion. When Hilliard died, the property was passed on to his daughter, Mary, and her husband, Martin Bates, who in 1820 leased it out to the governor of the time, Jacob Stout. It was an impressive property with a stately drawing room, music and dining rooms, 7 bedrooms and a cellar. With all the panelled walls and grand fireplaces, this was truly a beautiful property. On the grounds there are many pleasant features too, with crepe myrtles and English boxwood, including a boxwood maze. Marring the beauty of the grounds though is an old, gnarled poplar tree that is said to be haunted by a sinister spirit, still angry even in death at past owner Daniel Cowgill, and quite likely his own stupidity. You see, over the years the property has seen many people come and go while passing through numerous ownerships. One owner though was Daniel Cowgill. He purchased Woodburn Mansion in 1825 with his wife Mary. Cowgill was a devoted Quaker and abolitionist, freeing the slaves that his family had once owned. While living at Woodburn, the mansion became part of the Underground Railroad, hiding slaves in the cellar until they could escape safely via boats on the nearby river. But one night, Southern raiders came to Woodburn Mansion looking for any runaway slaves. Cowgill drove the raiders off, but one sneaky fella stuck around, hiding in a huge poplar at the front of the mansion. While the minutes ticked away, the raider managed to slip, catching his head in a hole in the tree, and sadly, he couldn't free himself. He dangled there for some time until, finally, he perished. People have seen his spirit still hanging in the tree as he relives his final moments over and over again. He can be heard crying out, groaning in pain, and local kids are terrified of him, so rush past the house at night so as not to hear him. Many feel his presence though in parts of the house too, as cold chills, physical contact, and a visible entity. Cowgill sold the property to a retired dentist named Frank Hall. When he too died, the property was split in two, with land purchased by a school and the main property and surrounding 1.5 acres of land being owned by Thomas Murray. In 1966, the land was purchased out of private hands, with funds being dispersed to bring it back to its former glory days, and today can be seen as an authentic example of what a Georgian mansion was like in the late 1700s. Woodburn Mansion has served as the place of residence for the Governor of Delaware ever since. Now, back to the apparent hauntings. This home was reported to be haunted even back in the 1800s, with the first recorded manifestation written by Judge Fisher. He wrote a piece called Dover in 1824 for the Historical Society of Delaware, and in this he talks about a Dr. M.W. Bates and his wife who owned the property then. He wrote that a man named Lorenzo Dahl was an overnight guest there once, and while walking down the stairs to breakfast, passed a man going upstairs dressed in attire from another era, including knee breeches, ruffled blouse and queued hair. He later said that the man looked as solid as him, so figured it was another guest staying at Woodburn. But alas, this hope was shattered after talking with the hosts at breakfast, when Mrs. Bates said that it was the spirit of her deceased father, and they were aware of his presence. It also seems like the spirits that stuck around have a particular fondness for wine. Governor Charles Terry Jr. reported seeing a man in a white wig helping himself to the wine in the dining room, and is suspected of drinking the vintage wines in the cellar too. Now this is backed up by another person who lived there, who claimed that each night he would fill a decanter with wine before bed, and each morning it was always discovered empty. Since the 1940s, the spirit of a young girl in a red gingham dress has been seen playing by the garden pool. but she can be found in more places than the pool. On one occasion back in January 1985, many guests at an inauguration party for Governor Michael Castle mentioned feeling a presence tugging on their clothes, with one person even seeing her standing in the corner of the reception room. Governor Castle agreed to let a teacher and 3 students spend the night at the property, but by morning, very troubled children reported seeing a lady in a portrait that kept smiling at them. The spirit may have been friendly, but the kids were terrified. So it seems that the spirits of Woodburn Mansion are still very active. Who was the spirit that you'd hate to bump into? I personally think that for many of us it would be the angry southern slave raider, as not only does he seem volatile, but you never know where he may crop up. The young girl and the other spirits seem friendly, and for the wine drinker who may be dead but still loves a tipple, it's nice to see he's not a violent drunk. That would be horrendous for visitors. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, please drop a like and hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on future haunted locations. Until next time, stay safe out there.